Welcome to Linux Saloon, a place to discuss tech, open source, and where Linux is always on tap. Each show I would talk about Linux projects such as Linux distribution, desktop environment, or application. We also chat about any variety, any news or variety of topics. I can't multitask apparently. News or any variety of topics from the community of Linux tech and open source related on the table for discussion. I'm Nate, Linux fitness and vintage tech enthusiast with an almost unhealthy obsession with the OpenSUSE project. And with me today, got a fantastic panel of people. I've got Dale, full scale for me, Mike. I've got Jinda, Eris, Eric, Mike Chilson, and War Thunder. How is everybody? So, real quick, I first want to say I got to catch the Mintcast today, and it was nice to see Eric, on the YouTubes besides here. It was great. Yeah. So no, it's wonderful. So that's, I was just thinking as I'm watching you, wow, you're going to put a lot of FaceTime on the internet today. It's going to be probably what, 4 hours at least? Because it was a Mintcast is what, an hour? Yeah. Well, just having your beautiful face here is really a lot for me. So thank you very much for being here. So I kind of totally derailed things there, but I do that a lot. So if you'd be so kind as to hit that like button, subscribe, better yet, join the chat here on Discord to provide your voice, your input, and help me to talk a little bit less, and apparently Eric too. So we also have a Telegram group and Discord group or server. I don't know what you call these things. What do the kids call these things these days? I don't know. Where you can chat throughout the week with a bunch of really awesome people. So be sure to do the StrawPoll, keepinglink.com/polls, and talk about, and if you want to cast your vote on your experience of using LibreWolf. So on the docket for today, we're going to talk about LibreWolf, some real quick talking points on it. So what is LibreWolf? Why does it exist? And how much of Firefox's bloated telemetry has actually been removed? And Firefox is private, right? So why people feel the need to fork it is what we're going to discuss tonight. But first, what are we doing in Linux and tech? Before the show kicked off, I was talking to Full Scale for me, Mike, and he was talking about some of the early computers he worked on, because we're talking about Unix and way back when. And I was really fascinated. And I kind of want to know. So like my first computer was a Commodore 64, but that was probably late in your game, is what I'm guessing, Mike. So I'm curious to know. What was the first machine that you worked on, and then maybe segue into what was the machine that what's the one machine that really sticks with you today? Now I'm curious to know the VAX. Like in my mind, VAX sounds like vacuum tube. So what can you tell me a little bit about the what the VAX is like? What did it look like? Okay. Really? Oh my goodness! Everything was working just fine here. How's everything got all muffed up? Okay, try again.
Okay.
All right, now it's working.
My comes.
So what happened that everyone was working fine and then it stopped working? Must be something I did. I apologize.
Mm.
Anyway, I guess let's rewind since I obviously messed that up and wasn't monitoring things well enough. So the computer you first used at home was a 386. Just to recap, but the one that you did at Big Iron you said at work. Now I'm going to show a picture of what I just found using LibreWolf. Is this? I don't know if you can see what I'm presenting. Is that kind of what you saw?
Waiting for it to spin up.
Okay.
It's doing the little
Oh yeah.
dancing boxes.
Everybody's doing the dance.
Basically,
No.
basically these machines were used to have multiple terminals come in, emulating a session for each user. They looked like they were using the computer on their own, but this is the early version of time division multiplexing, where everybody got a couple slices of the computer and then they paused and another guy went in. Oh yeah, Discord is doing its thing.
Well, what can you do?
Well, I don't know whether it came through, but the apartment-sized refrigerator with a bunch of computer-like control knobs on it is the closest algorithm you get to the what these things look like. But as I said before we started, now your smart watch has more power than these things guys, because the biggest of them had a 1 MIPS processing speed, where most companies had ones that were half or quarter or eighth of that speed. Services like CompuServe and other dial-up computer sharing used mainframes as well.
Okay. Now I'm curious to know. I guess from in the original Star Trek, their depiction of the future, was that pretty close to what you would see like on like the computers you dealt with then? I guess for like visualization, like in engineering, whatever, flashing lights, knobs, buttons.
To a somewhat degree, the Altran display, as they call it, I think in Star Trek, was a lot of the colors were inspired from the early mainframes, the soft earth tones.
Okay.
But it was strictly green tube and amber tube, depending on the brand mainframe you're dealing with. The early ones were amber tube, and then you later got the 5270 terminals that you went even to the fancy point where, Mike might remember these. We had a row of 12 function keys and then a shift key, or on the bigger keyboards, you had 24 function keys.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Would you say like? Would you say when using? Do any of these mainframe systems really stick with you as something you really, like you almost? I don't know if miss is the right word, but like you are, like you're wistful for or nostalgic for. You know what I'm saying? Is there anything in the old Big Iron that you think to yourself, that was a fun time?
It was interesting. It's where I cut my teeth and learned about message routing, IP routing, and so on. Because some of these companies that had these VAXs were mergers of mergers of mergers. One company, we had 9 email systems being routed through the VAX and an IBM mainframe running a crazy application called Soft Switch. X500 directories or something that came and went. X400 communication came and went. Some of that I'm glad is gone.
Yeah.
I don't have any of my VAX documentation anymore, or even Windows 3.1. It all got pitched.
Yeah, I worked with a Microvex 3100. I actually have one that I picked up off of eBay, but it was, you're talking about the VAXs, Mike's talking about the mainframes, and it's funny how over about a 10 or 15 year span, they went from those huge mainframes down to a desktop machine that could do basically more than the mainframes could. But even those were super limited by today's standards. I mean, the processor was probably more optimized for multi-user than a PC today, but like the one I got, it's maxed out at 32. I think it's 32 meg of RAM.
32 KB.
Yeah, and it had, I think it has like a 16 megahertz processor in it. So,
yeah, 11783.
Yeah, but this is like a Model 30, I think, a 3130.
Yeah, P2P 1140 and 1143, and then later 73 were the most common. They sold thousands of those.
Right.
But they were dog slow to boot up to run a program. 2.5 minutes to get the operating system loaded on an 8-inch floppy.
Yeah.
And then after that, you pull the OS floppy out and put your program in, put that in there, and you waited some more.
Yeah, the one I worked on had 30 megabyte RLL hard drive in it.
Oh yeah.
And it could load VMS up on that. So.
Yeah, it took two hands to lift them because those things were about 3 loaves of bread wide and long.
Yeah.
Now, I've never actually touched an 8-inch floppy before. Like, I've seen them like at vintage computer fests, but I've never actually like handled one. I mean, do they feel like a 5 1/4? They're just bigger. Is that as far as like the consistency of it? Okay.
Yeah, they started out as 360 KB and then later went up to the dual-sided, dual density, and 1 whole megabyte on one floppy.
Wow, a megabyte on a floppy.
Yeah, yeah. Typical material science analyst doing, say, X-ray samples, X-ray diffraction. One of those files is about 20 KB.
So, not a Linux guru guy says, I used to work on a digital VAX back in the 80s. It was if my memory serves me correctly, RT11 or something like that. It was called a mini frame.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Very cool. Yeah, no, I've seen these like mainframes at like Vintage Computer Fest Midwest in Chicago, but I've never actually. I find it a little intimidating, although I do think the teletype ones that have like the typewriter end on it. I don't know if you've seen those things operate. Those things actually kind of shake the floor a little bit when they're typing. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool.
I was really lucky. I got contracted to work the microvacs. I got contracted on. We were developing a GAIT analysis program for a hospital, and we had a laboratory, and they wanted to develop the software to do that. And I worked with an engineer, and we developed a 3D rendering of like kids that had multiple sclerosis or CP. We could put this is very early. Now, this is like back in the late 80s, early 90s. We'd stick on reflective balls on all the joints, and they would walk across the room in front of all these infrared cameras. And the microvacs would capture all of it and do a 3D rendering of them walk. So,
well, that's really cool. Yeah, very cool. How long did it take for that process to happen? Was it like a real-time capture, or was there something else?
Oh yeah, it was real-time capture. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
And VMS later on, VMS was a lot like Unix. You know, they were almost identical, probably in the mid '90s. So.
Gotcha.
Well, DEC had their own version of Unix also, Ultrix.
Yes.
I think everyone had their own version of Unix. It seemed like. Yeah. Anyway, oh, well, very cool. Now, I guess just to maybe answer it, but is there anything like you wish you could work on again? Any of that old big iron? Like, is there like if you see one at a Vintage Computer Fest, you're like, oh man, I could show you some neat things with that, or not so much. I mean, that's
Probably the wonder that I had when I took my first computer programming class in college was on a PDP-11. And that was really interesting to me. So I have a lot of nostalgia about that, I think.
That's cool. I don't know if you've heard of this YouTube creator, Usagi Electric. If you like old, like real old computer stuff, like vacuum tube era or just after, he restores these things. And it's pretty wild. I'll put a link in the chat. So, I would say check it out. But if you could do me a favor, maybe hang out until after the show and then check it out. Or you can, I guess you can double dip. That's fine. Whatever. But anyway, Usagi Electric. It's a great. It's a very fascinating stuff. The guy's, I think he's like genius level in the things that he does. And the old hard drives, like the platters, how some of these things look like, I don't know, like these drums you like put into a hard drive. I don't even know how to describe these things, but the reader, the motor module. Anyway, it's pretty cool.
RLO2s. Those are about 10 mega platter.
Wow.
Yeah. I think Mike will back me up on this. One interesting thing about these mainframes, minis and micros, they were optimized for multi-user, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so just running text-based applications, even with the minimal speeds, minimal memory, and slow hard drives, they were pretty darn fast for their day. I mean, it wasn't like a PC. Early PCs, you when you ran an MS-DOS program, sometimes they were kind of laggy, It wasn't like that at all. I mean, literally the limitation on them was the baud rate you had the terminal set up at. It wasn't
Gotcha.
it wasn't the mainframe. So.
Yeah, it's neat stuff. I think there's yeah. Anyway, I find that era interesting. I get more interesting the further away we get from it. Kind of like steam engines; those interest me too for some reason. So anyway, well, thank you. It was a nice little stroll in the life of Full Scale for me. All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and hop into the straw poll. I don't know if Eris, if you are ready to rock and roll with that, I can actually bring it up. In fact, I will use LibreWolf for this.
Let me refresh the poll. So the question was, which best describes your experience with LibreWolf? Number one answer is tied. It is good and it is okay, both with 25%, followed by it is amazing, 13%. Also, second place, did not have a good time with it, 13%. Did not have enough time, busy with work, busy with life, second place also. 6% not interested in doing the explorations in general. 6% Tux Penguin.
And nobody said other.
There was one comment somebody made. After using LibreWolf for a few days, testing it out, I came to the following brief conclusion about it. LibreWolf works well for privacy-focused power users who value protection over convenience and are willing to tweak settings for problematic sites. It's less suitable as a seamless daily driver for the average user, in my honest opinion.
That seems fair. All right, so I guess let's go hop in it with the about LibreWolf. So, so LibreWolf is a one, it's got a really cool name, I think. But it is a privacy-focused independent fork of Firefox that aims to deliver maximum out-of-the-box privacy and security with minimal user configuration. So its core philosophy is to take Firefox, which is already quite good, and remove all the telemetry, data collection, Mozilla-sponsored features, and annoyances, while hardening privacy and anti-fingerprinting protection significantly. So some of the key features are zero telemetry. So everything that phones on Mozilla is disabled or removed. It has built-in uBlock origin, pre-installed with a strong default filter list. Enhanced anti-fingerprinting. So much stronger resistance to tracking scripts and browser fingerprinting. Privacy search by default, so it uses DuckDuckGo or other privacy-focused engines like Sirix. Stricter security defaults, includes many of the famous ArkinFox user.js tweaks baked in. I probably should have looked what ArkinFox is. I think it's a user. No pocket, no sponsored content, no DRM by default. YouTube ads are blocked unless you enable DRM. Fast updates. Tracks Firefox releases very closely. Fully open source, developed in the community on Codeberg. So some of the pros: has excellent privacy and security right after install. It's still fully compatible with Firefox extensions and profiles. Feels very snappy and clean. And some of the cons are some websites may break due to aggressive blocking. You can tweak settings easily. No Firefox sync and Mozilla account support by default, but you can enable it if you would like. Slightly unique fingerprint, although it's still very good. I'm not sure what that means, but so it's best for privacy-conscious users who want a Firefox-based browser that requires almost zero setup to be highly private. So I don't know if you thought that was a good overview, accurate overview, or whatnot. So what say you, Dolphin? Are you a LibreWolf user?
So I tried it because I got a lot of folks said, "Hey, we should have this as your default in MX." I can't have this as the default in MX. I'm one of the votes that said it's not for me. I don't like logging in all the time. I like my web browser to remember that I'm logged in different places. But if you it ain't your game, it ain't your bag, it ain't your bag, and LibreOffice is there. Not LibreOffice, LibreWolf is there to handle all the times you want to enter your password over and over and over and over again. It is right there for you. But I'm sure it does what their project says it does. I know my Google search results looked a little different, so I'm going to say it was doing a good job.
Yeah, I did find the initial experience was a little bit like, and whatever. It was a little bit jarring initially because it didn't pick up on my dark theme by default. So you have to essentially turn all those things on. So there's like little conveniences that I've kind of gotten used to with Chromium, Chrome, Firefox, where it'll adjust the website based on your theme. That was actually a little bit jarring for me. I know that means that's a total first world complaint, I will say.
Yes, and if you realize that a lot of that stuff is actually part of the extension system to an extent, I actually had trouble getting Bitwarden set up, which it's lucky it lasted more than a day. I went a couple of days with LibreWolf, but I took 2 or 3 tries and a deleting of the folders to get Bitwarden back up and running. And that was a big deal. Okay, I not only do I have to enter my password every time, but now my password manager extension's not working. So it was really frustrating. I'm sure that somebody in the LibreWolf crowd will track me down and tell me all the ways I was doing it wrong, but I just clicked the buttons to add Bitwarden and it did not work. So there you go. But that's part of their game, right? Their LibreWolf's game is to lock down Firefox, to de-Mozilla Firefox a little bit, which is kind of silly because it's Firefox. The first step of compiling the thing is to download the Mozilla source code. So it's It's Firefox with a customized set of stuff and some other things that someone decided security was not security conscious. Maybe they're right. I'm not a security expert. I just know it was very frustrating to use as a routine home user. It was very frustrating to use. And I also have a slight problem with it packaging uBlock origin by default.
In what way?
I know you guys love your password blockers, but the internet runs on ads. I'm just saying.
No, I get
no
it.
ads on .org. You can surf there all you want. Won't affect me at all. But at some like the Weather Channel gives you the warning saying, "Hey, you have your ad blocker turned off." You start seeing the ad blocker. You have your ad blocker turned on warnings everywhere you go. I don't know. It was it was not my cup of tea. A lot of people like it. I respect those people. I guess if it was a traveling computer and I was using it for work and I wanted it to be a little more locked down, it'd be good for that. It's not the way I use Linux. I use Linux at home, and it was a little bit overkill for me.
Okay. So would you say like the fingerprinting resistance was that aggressive? Is that too aggressive then? Do you think, or is that not so much an issue?
I'll be honest. I don't exactly know how all that stuff works, but all I know is, the Google searches were a little different, which is fine. I mean, that was perfectly reasonable. I've come to expect my news to look a little different because of I stay logged in to my Google account all the time. I found myself using LibreWolf more when I wasn't logged into things than when I was needed to. I found myself wanting to just go ahead and use Firefox, the regular Firefox, the rest of the time. A lot of people like it. I put it in MX popular apps, so go to town. But if you're talking about, okay, does it have a use case? Absolutely, it's got a use case. For me as a home user, it's probably not my use case.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's very frustrating if you're it's hard enough with Bitwarden when you close the browser window, open it back up, you got to log back into Bitwarden, and that's fine. I don't need it all the time, but everything is like that in LibreWolf, which is its job. That's what they want it to do. I'm going to say it works. I'm just saying probably not for me.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any issues? Okay, so besides the ad blocking, and I do agree that the internet someone's got to pay for the servers, so ads do help kind of grease the wheels of the internet. I think my issue with the ads on the internet is the overly aggressive on sub websites, and that's more or less what I like to block. Or I actually generally have my ad blocking off unless the website is just absolutely atrocious, to which then I often just leave the website and find another site if I can.
100% agree. The Weather Channel in the United States is terrible for ads. You can't do anything on it. But if you have the ad blocker on, it goes up a big warning across the top of your screen that says, "Hey, you have an ad blocker on." And you're right. I just go to weather.gov and pull my weather there. But yep. I don't know. I don't know why I feel so strongly about it, but I kind of do. I don't only show up for the application ones, but I actually gave this one a go, and it was not a seamless transition, I guess is the best way to say it.
Okay, well, that's fair. So did this happen to feel faster or lighter? Or for anybody can chime in on this one. Did anybody feel like LibreWolf was lighter or faster than Firefox?
It felt that way, yeah. I mean, I think it felt that way. At this point, it's really hard to see the difference between any of them. But yeah, I mean, the app itself loading was very fast, which was really nice. But I'm kind of like with Dolphin on this. It's a very specific use case, but it does what it's supposed to do. So
Yeah, I did notice that when I was going to some websites, it did seem to load a lot quicker for some things. And I don't know if that's because it's blocking. It's probably because it's blocking the trackers. I'm guessing that's probably why.
For sure, that kind of thing was faster. That was a bonus. If you were going to sites that had ads being served up, which is kind of, I mean, lots of people have uBlock Origin. It's just that it was in there by default on this one. Like, okay, honestly, I was a little miffed that uBlock Origin was working just fine, and I couldn't get BidWarden to start up for a while. Honestly, it took a minute, but it did eventually work, and it was fine. But yeah, all this stuff's faster. I don't know about the tracking cookies and stuff and the fingerprinting making things faster, but I would think the aggressive ad blocking would help a lot. I would think.
I think LibreWolf's great. I think using it in a certain way is the best way, right? Not necessarily as your default browser, but as an extra browser that you don't want to change your algorithms and that type of stuff. And yeah, it's pretty snappy. It's just Firefox. I mean, really, to be honest.
yeah, a lot of that could be too. Your cache is fairly small, and because compared to your normal browser, and when you're pulling up sites, that's definitely part of the process is pulling those files. So.
What do you mean your cache is very small? You mean like just how much it caches?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you use something for 3 days, your browser cache is going to be substantially smaller than your day-to-day driver.
Right. Okay.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
All right. I got you.
But hey, I will say this: I'm keeping it, and the reason I'm keeping it is exactly what Arch Penguin just said. Is there are times when I want to test a site or test something out, and not be dragging all that luggage behind me when I do it. So.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that makes total sense.
Yeah, keep it on the toolbar.
Yeah, I turn off saving cookies and all that stuff, so I basically strip it down even further.
Right.
So as far as like performance, if you use this at all on a laptop, because I thought it felt a little light, a little faster. Did you notice any difference if you ran on a laptop? Did anybody here run on battery on a laptop for an extended period of time? No.
I mean, I ran it on a laptop. Yeah, I mean, I didn't measure it though.
Yeah, I didn't. That's something I didn't think to measure until just now. So as far as missing features, there's no Mozilla Sync or Count support out of the box. You can turn it on. Would that be a deal breaker for anybody? Because I use the Mozilla Sync quite a bit. To me, that's one of the things I like about Firefox is that Mozilla Sync.
Yeah, for me, the big thing I need is bookmarks. I don't necessarily care about password sync or history sync or anything like that, but being able to do that, or sometimes I'll have a website up on my phone and I want to be able to send it to a device of mine that I'm signed into. That's handy sometimes. Being able to just enable the Firefox sync for me was good, but I also know that to me, like, LibreWolf is a secondary browser in that regard because it has those features. You can re-enable them, but I think that kind of defeats the purpose of having that browser for what it's kind of meant for. If that makes sense.
Exactly. You took the words from my mouth.
Hey, Nate, I'm posting an article on ZDNet about browser speed, and it's interesting where LibreWolf came in. It came in next to last for speed, which is interesting.
Okay, so start time LibreWolf 2.16 seconds. Speedometer. So speedometer responsiveness to web applications that came in the fastest.
Yeah.
Interesting.
If you really want
So, I mean, here's a measurement that doesn't mean anything. I have LibreOffice open with just its start page. Or I keep saying Office. Yeah, how easy that is to say LibreOffice instead of Libre. Never mind. So LibreWolf is using about 650 megabytes with nothing loaded. And Firefox with Discord running in the web browser, because I'm that guy, is 2 gigabytes. So I don't really know how that measures, but I'm using Firefox for something. I got 3 tabs open. I'm using 2 gigabytes. LibreWolf doing nothing is 630. I'm going to guess that's fairly tight on the LibreWolf's favor.
Probably.
Because I'm thinking my Firefox with nothing in it opens up to more like 1 gig, something like that. They use more RAM than more RAM have. I got a lot of RAM, so.
So
Yeah,
Firefox is your default browser?
What's that?
Firefox is your default?
Yeah.
You know, by logging into Discord, you give them the keys to your kingdoms, right?
Well, I give them the keys to
If you
Discord.
open it in like a flat pack and then what you do is set a default browser that is more like LibreWolf, Black Hole. When they go to attach to it and get their tentacles into everything about you and all your everything, they basically, it's kind of like a black hole, you know what I mean? That's another good reason for LibreWolf, actually. Set it as your default. Your main driver, you don't. Well, this is, if you worry about, ad tech and spy tech and all that kind of stuff, I mean, don't install Discord to begin with, but if you actually log into it with your browser, I mean, that's literally just handing them the keys to the kingdom. Just a heads up.
Yeah, I know where you're coming from on that, and you're probably not wrong, but I guess it really depends on. I mean, I use the Discord application itself because it.
Right. Yeah, me too. Flatpak, but
Yeah,
non-system. I don't let it in my system.
No, I don't either. In fact, I'm doing more and more Flatpak these days. I think it's an easier way to manage applications. So I did the LibreWolf Flatpak as well. So, so I get what you're saying with that. I guess I don't really consider though.
It's for LibreWolf, you know what I mean? To set it as a black hole, your default, and then Discord will go to it instead of your real browser.
Well, you have a challenge in the chat here from Prophetic. It says proof of this claim of giving the keys. And what do you mean by keys? I added that part, the last part.
And how is it different in LibreWolf is how I would add because
you're not. That's not your default. This is what Discord does, right? They literally, the first thing that happens when you launch Discord, what happens? Just ask. This is easy deductive reasoning. Okay, you don't even have to. This is, if you understand it all. Literally, it opens your browser. Guess what it's doing? Come on, man. I mean, this is the 1, 2, 3.
Well,
easy. No, it's not. I do not know. I do not do this for
the guy that was saying prove it.
If you need water to run downhill or uphill, I'm your guy. But I don't know about this, so please let me know because this might be LibreWolf. So what I'm hearing is I need to use LibreWolf for a special case, not for every case. Because wouldn't it be the same if I used LibreWolf all the time?
Yes. If you log into everything, and then you're defeating the whole purpose of LibreWolf. LibreWolf's idea is to keep everything away from you, not to feed the algorithm, not to, you're. So
you're talking about like the fingerprinting?
Keeping the internet away from you a little ways,
Yeah. Well, I guess. All right.
So I could give some examples. If you remember when Linus Tech Tips got their channel taken over,
yes,
because they're logged in. They're logged into their
exactly
to their account, and so they would look through an email and then click on something, and then that email would use because you're already logged into YouTube to transfer over the ownership to something else. So that kind of vulnerability, I guess, maybe hopefully is taken care of in YouTube now. but it might not be taken care of in a different website or something.
Once you let Discord into your actual browser, though, I mean, it's literally they're in there, dude. That's it.
So when you say that it's it, I mean, you're saying that they can't dig through your passwords, so they're not going to get passwords out of you. They're not going to get your tokens unless you specifically allow them to have your tokens. So I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, if you're using a flat pack, okay, that could be different. If your browser is a flat pack, it might not be as bad. But if it's a system app, dude, I mean, literally, Discord makes system calls to everything. It knows everything you do, everything you type, everything. If it's a system app, right? And the whole idea of keeping it away from you is not to let it latch into your default browser. And because it does, that's the first thing it does when you launch Discord is latch itself in there. You can watch it every time you boot it.
So I don't actually have a default browser.
So let me ask a question, Arch Linux. Is what exactly do you think it's getting?
All your cookies, everything.
How is that possible? Because browsers are sandboxed. Browser sessions are sandboxed.
Well, they're inside your sandbox if you let them in there.
No, each session, each window each tab you open in a browser is sandboxed.
So you're saying they're not sharing cookies at all? The cookies don't get spread around because all it is a web app. I mean, it's just.
Well, no.
You're saying that there's no cross contamination at all? I don't know about that.
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is
you may not be able to get your actual password, but you don't think that it could keylog everything you're typing?
Well,
I don't think the Firefox. I don't think the Firefox engine sandboxes every tab. That's something Chrome, something Firefox doesn't actually do yet.
Man, I mean, I'm good. I'm not going to ever run Discord as a system app, only as a flat pack. I don't give it any permissions. I don't turn on the.
Yeah, I'm a little dubious on this just because it says, a website can only read cookies that it sets itself. I mean, that's kind of like how browser security works, because otherwise, any website means as soon as you log into your banking app, that means that any kind of website anywhere could just be looking at a cookie, like a session cookie, and be able to capture it and pull it out. That would be a huge hole in security. I'm not convinced. I'm not arguing with you because I don't know for myself. I'm just saying that this sounds like maybe a little less serious than what you're making it sound like.
I'm good. I'm not going to
want to go ahead.
You guys do you. I'll do me.
And get a flat pack.
Well, yeah. Look, man, nobody's trying to throw shade on you here. We're just trying to.
It sounds a little too absolute to me. So
I'm not saying that I'm a total expert. I'm just telling you what I see. Okay, what I see is Discord latching into your browser every time you launch it. Whatever your default browser is.
Well, yeah, I mean it may be doing some sort of a sanity check. I mean there could be any reason that it's going through and pinging out. I mean there's.
I have my
you'd have to like do
How's that?
Okay. Well, I mean, you'd have to do a packet sniff and actually check and see which addresses it's going to. And I mean, just the fact that it makes a system call to something, that's all. I mean, you and I are on the same situation here where neither of us know for sure. And we're both basically taking a stab at it.
They make system calls to basically anything you do if you.
Yeah, but you're saying key logging. I mean, you're doing a lot of, you're stretching a little here.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I do.
Seems a little crazy, but you know what?
It's okay. I'm just saying. I don't think that Discord would get away with key logging on your system. I think there are millions of people using it, and someone would have said, "Hey, this ain't happening." So,
I just want to go ahead and start sandboxing everything now because I'm just like wigged out. This is like insane because this is exactly how I operate in my life.
I think you take a little bit too much passive. You're a little too passive, in my opinion. Just for me, that's okay. You do you, I'll do me. I'm not.
But that's the beauty. That's the beauty of browser technology and the fact that we've learned these lessons, and that's
And it's
how.
good to have multiple browsers. Browser
Guaranteed.
isolation is a good idea. Okay, this is another
one of the
point.
reasons that I still use Firefox, even though it annoys me to death half the time, is I love the way that you can run the browser containers, and I use them like a ton of them. I don't let all of my work stuff is in one set, one container, and I mean, and that definitely cordons off all the cookies and all
That's
the
all
history
Discord
and all
really
that.
is another website. I mean, it's the same shit, dude. That's what I'm
Yeah,
getting at.
yeah, but
My
again,
point.
I mean,
You're
if you look
totally
into the
you're validating my point in a way, almost.
No, I'm not. I'm really not.
It is.
I'm just saying that.
Exact same thing, dude. I think maybe I'm lack the ability to explain myself well enough, but literally what you're saying correlates to what I'm saying.
Yeah, but it's not because of cookies specifically and session cookies. I mean, cookies are not wide open to all websites. It's not how it works. They're just not sitting in like a directory that like free for all cookie jar. Like that's just not how that technology works. But
If you
anyway,
think that Discord doesn't have tentacles, then I think you're sadly mistaken, sir.
I think any application takes as much data as you'll let it have. But I also don't think something like Discord is going to knowingly keylog and break. Could you imagine what that would do to their business if they would do something
How many times they've leaked data and done all kinds of crappy crap, all that they get caught all the time, man.
Yeah, they're different things, man. It's okay. I
Hey,
have
I can
no.
agree to disagree and respect your opinion, man. Just so you know.
Yeah, totally.
I'm just wondering why on the wall.
Well, I'll tell you, it's certainly something I'm going to be thinking about because this is a bit over my head as a casual internet user. So thank you.
Discord evil.
Why haven't we heard?
Well, you're on it.
I'm
You know,
not denying that.
Just not made the list. I'm just going at a level 3 of
it's a necessary evil.
not putting it against the wall.
For this one show, this is why I'm on there.
Pop in a search engine and see what you're talking about.
Yeah, I've been actually been using Element more, Matrix more, which has gotten a lot better recently.
Full scale, you're kind of quiet.
I don't even know if I came through at that point.
Man, now I want cookies for some reason.
Yeah, my wife actually got some cookies today.
So one of the things you can notice if you use LibreWolf is that they don't allow the website to use your accurate time, and that could be an issue depending on how you use your browser, or it could be a good thing because they don't have the accurate time you're using. If you go to linuxsaloon.com and look at the Google Calendar, and you're using LibreWolf, it will not give you your accurate time for when the next saloons will be on. Versus if you use something like Firefox, which doesn't do that, it'll give you the correct time. The way I like to use LibreWolf, I use it as my default browser, but that's just so that anything that opens just uses LibreWolf, and then if I want to log into something, I use regular Firefox for that, or I can use Brave and have a different profile for like a website. Try to keep everything more containerized, but it's up to you how you use your things, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like
It's literally
LibreWolf is in
the same.
GNT 00. So, I'm trying to do some digging here on your assertion about Discord. And
I think you
apparently,
got to define what system calls mean exactly. And
Yeah,
was
so-
the claim keylogging? Was that the claim?
So it looks like, I don't know, real quick. It looks like data from other tabs in Firefox, because of the same origin policy that Firefox has. It has what's something called total cookie protection. So data logins or data from other websites are Discord cannot easily access, or your full browser history, or files on your computer. outside of what you explicitly gave to it, or password stored in Firefox. They can't access that. Otherwise, Firefox would be, nobody would be using it. So, yeah, I don't know. Now, what do you say? I'm sorry, Prophetic. I did interrupt you.
Yeah, so just it's like we have to define terms. We have to unpack it. What does keys to the kingdom exactly mean? What does system calls exactly entail? Because usually, there's a lot of fear mongering that sometimes comes with security paranoia, which is rooted in good reasons oftentimes, but can easily, due to either lack of terminology awareness or technical expertise, like it can easily blend and become this big blob of like terminology that kind of blends into different domains that are not really accurate. So if we're talking about system calls, what exactly? And two, if it's keylogging, is there proof of that? Because I think we would have had articles and vulnerability reports on that. And, given that it's a great show, we want to be careful not to spread accidental false information in the spirit of security awareness.
We do the safest thing to protect yourself from the internet is not be on the internet at all. But that's like the best way to keep your house safe from anyone getting into it is don't put any doors. So not very useful.
Did the attendee leave already, or is he still here? Who made the claim?
No, Arch Penguin's still here.
Yeah, so Arch Penguin, when you say, can you define system calls? And which ones exactly?
Oh, you mean for Discord? That's kind of non-related to the browser thing. I'm just saying, if you install it as a system app, it can see what games you're playing. It can see, yeah, basically everything.
That's not basically everything. Seeing games.
Look that up, dude. Look it up.
Well, seeing games that you play where there's a lot of back end.
It's like you said, the permission that you give it in order to enhance your experience on Discord allows it to know what games you're playing and all kinds of other system calls. Yes.
So again, system calls versus like API calls that you allow, because Discord comes with a lot of plugins and integrations. Those are two separate things. So I'm asking specifically, when you say keys to the kingdom, I'm asking you to provide specific examples of what you mean by that, because API access that you allow and integrate are not the same thing. So I'm asking very specifically, what keys are you talking about?
Well, looking at the,
You guys are all locking up, man.
looking at the some of the information here. Apparently, running Discord in the web is technically the safest way because it restricts it the most. So to include Firefox.
Because you have an intermediary in between you and Discord,
Right.
versus downloading the Electron. The Electron app is just going to use Discord as whatever it tells you it wants access to. But if you're using that, whenever you use like an app, it's the same problem. You're giving a lot of access to it. Versus if you use it through a browser, the browser is going to ask you, do you want to have microphone access? Do you want to give this? Do you want to give that? And it always asks for your permission. And if you just use the Electron app, it has automatic access to all that.
So apparently,
that's the fairest point I've heard yet. Yes, I agree with that.
Well, Electron is a browser based, so it's still.
That's my point. Electron's another browser, and it wants to hook into your default browser. There's a reason for that, though. Why is that?
So, you have to authenticate against something.
You think that's the only reason?
Well, if you were to assume that every company is capable of operating that way, then this claim could be made for literally every application.
This is why you use multiple browsers and you don't cross-contaminate things.
But you're saying specifically Discord. So is it only Discord, or how many
I,
other
I
applications?
think I
are
think
you
there's a
referring
lot
to?
more than Discord that I worry about running in the
Okay.
same browser. Yeah.
And going back to worry, are you trying to define that as keylogging? Does every application
No, I don't
that's
think
run?
so.
Okay, so you admit then this, assuming that every application on the internet is capable of this. Why are you using the internet? Why are you using
Oh,
any
well,
application at all?
well, I mean, no, security is but illusion anyway, man. So you can break me down all you want, man. Trying to disprove me or whatever, it's fine. I'm entitled to my opinion. My opinion is that pretty much Discord is spyware. Okay.
But what's your distinction for other applications? I'm just curious. Why isn't
I
any
mean,
other application
websites.
not
I
spyware?
think where having multiple logins on the same browser isn't a good idea. I think keeping that stuff separated is a really good idea. Yeah.
Is your bank spyware?
Can be.
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah, so
Opinions are just
probably
basically
that.
anything you run an application level
anything
or
can
web
be. Yeah.
browser level, it could basically be spyware, right?
Well, opinions are just that, but you can't make definitive statements like you did. I think that's where everybody's having the problem.
No,
To
I
state
don't
that
know.
there's
There's,
no way.
I mean,
Let,
let's
can I finish?
back
Let
up
me
on my
just
brother
add
here
this
for a
thing.
second here, because there's a real argument for not being logged into multiple things at one time. I may break it constantly because I don't know, but that is if that is a thing where you shouldn't be logged in multiple places at one time, okay, fine. Getting back
I
to the
think
show thing, I did it again. LibreWolf is great for that because it will log you out every time you do anything of any
But
any
not
site.
if you're doing keylogging, Dolphin. That's the key.
Well, come on,
you're not logging in with LibreWolf. The whole point is not to log into anything.
I don't think. Well, you have to log in. I think
That's the point.
No, but if you're
It's just
using
for browsing and doing searches. You're not even logging in on that. You disable
What is Steam collecting when you log in to play their games? What is
everything.
EA doing? I mean, they're all doing.
anything
If that's the case, then everybody's key logging you. I mean, that's a pretty definitive statement
I don't
for
think.
something that you don't know is a fact. It says right on Discord's site too that about the access to servers and the information of the games and things like that. That's to be expected. Now, they had their hands in the cookie jar a little bit with some things in the past, as a lot of them do. But the thing is to sit there and make an assumption that they're an out and out security risk to your private life. That's where I think the problem is being had here in this discussion.
Well, I
And
mean,
that's where
why is it a
LibreWolf,
problem? Does
locked
it
it down.
hurt
So
anybody that I have this opinion? Really? No.
Well, I think
that
I
it's
think
just
the
it's just
answer,
that it's an opinion.
Arch,
That's the point.
Arch,
Yeah,
the
that's the
thing
I've
problem
never,
we've had
I've
in the
never
past.
said it wasn't an opinion. I'm entitled to mine.
Okay,
You're entitled
so
to
then
yours.
Arch
that is
real
the
quick. This is the king. This is the key here. That and there's a reason why I wanted to hop on, was because a lot of people watch this show. I mean, it's not Linus Tech Tips numbers, but we want to be careful with our claims and then back up our claims with evidence. And so far, you've talked about things that are negligible in terms of API calls that are common for an application like Discord. So I'm trying to still get to the bottom of this because we all want to know if we're running something that's dirty. So system calls specifically, what are the system calls specifically that you're concerned about, that you have evidence for, that are not API calls which are enabled, just something totally different?
I already answered that question.
Not really.
Did I miss that answer?
No.
No, Professor, you're not going to get the answer you're looking for. Let's just go ahead.
Let's just move on. If you want to keep trying to make me look like an idiot, that's fine.
No, we're not trying to do that. We have had this happen in the past. What Prophetic's trying to say is we've had someone give information that was not accurate and other people acted on it, had problems, and we don't.
I want someone to explain to me how being extra cautious with Discord is a bad idea.
So
there's a difference between saying that you have an opinion around something being spyware, keylogging, stealing your cookies.
Overstated what I meant. Okay,
right, and that's all we're trying to do, is to just be a little more specific about that. You have very strict security practices that you like to follow. That's an excellent position to take. I think
Why?
everybody has way too much information out there in the world, and we all could use a little more caution. That's a good thing, but we just have
I
to be
wouldn't
careful
even be
about
on it if
saying,
it wasn't for the show, basically.
dude, trust me, these are the conversations we want to have. Like, we want to be able to be clear with each
I'll be
other
on
and like
Fluxer,
understand.
man. It's open
Yeah,
source. You vet the
we're
code.
good. We're good. It's just
How do you know what's
the
happening
way
in a
you said that.
proprietary? There's a question for you. How do you know what's happening in a proprietary program?
That's not germane to this right now. What the point is, I had
How
the
do
same
you-
reaction that Dolphin did. My blood went cold for 5 seconds when you said it like that, because it was like, oh,
I
well,
mean,
that's.
okay.
And then I
mean,
thought you were speaking from authority, which
No, I'm not a complete expert on anything. I just
Exactly.
telling you what
So
I'm
that's
doing.
the
and
only
what my
conversation
opinion
we
is.
want to have.
I feel that
Thank
it's a nefarious app,
Yes.
and they're up to bad and doing all kinds
I
of
don't-
bad shit.
Yeah.
So here's
Well,
a good
that's my
example of
opinion.
this. Like if I said I would never use Microsoft Edge. I mean, they kind of store passwords like crazy and open text with no encryption.
Well,
I
that
would
is
never
true.
run
They
that.
do not. That is
Yeah,
true. That
but
is,
you know what else
they
is
got
true?
called on that, and they didn't even fix it. That is absolute
Yeah.
fact.
Eventually they fixed it, but it took a while.
Yeah,
But-
with a bunch of people outcrying because
Exactly.
it was such a heinous thing.
Yeah, and because of people like you who are very security conscious, which is what we need. So, but I'm able to look that up and verify that, right? When I hear someone say Discord has keys to the kingdom and make system calls like keylogging, and then I have no reference for that, and there's nothing else that's proving that, then we have to be really careful. So I agree with you that running things through the browser is better, running things through Firefox, LibreWolf, that's containerized or isolated. We are wholeheartedly agreement with that. We just want to ask that we just be a little more measured with our claims, and not accidentally spread false information or misinformation. That's all.
But I will ask, how do you know what's going on in a proprietary program?
That's a totally separate question, and
But
that's
it's
probably a good
relative,
segue.
though.
I would say there are lots of applications, proprietary applications, you don't know exactly what they're doing, which is why running them in something like a Flatpak sandbox provides
That's
some
my choice. Yeah, that's what I do.
additional protection. However, running Edge and Chrome in Flatpak, although I think it's improved, it does diminish some of the isolation that Chrome specifically does using the kernel. We've talked about this before, but so it's a matter
You
of
can
like
review the manifest too on Flatpak.
you have to evaluate the risk versus reward for every application you run. And then you have to also look at what is your actual data exposure that you're concerned about. So, for instance, when it comes to something like Discord, what is my actual exposure right now? So what Discord does do is it does, like with the whole game thing, like it knows what game you're playing. The reason it does that is because it actually asks the computer for about what's on basically /proc and what's basically running, and it compares that against its database of games that it knows about, and so then it will say, as a fun feature, this is what you're using. Now, whether or not Discord uses that for advertising purposes to find out, they can make a claim this is what we're doing, but what they're actually doing is really hard to tell. You either have to trust them or not trust them. And then you have to just basically, if the proof is in the pudding long term, are they acting, naughty? And so when I run Discord, I actually shut anything off on my computer that could be considered sensitive, because I just don't know. Now,
same thing.
So no, that's because there are lots of reasons for that. Now, I did see Nate pick. Now, I like his name. He says he would never run Edge. Now, I actually do run Edge, and I do have a tinfoil hat. But the reason I run Edge is for work specifically. I isolate all my Microsoft Office 365 activities, not on Firefox or LibreWolf or Chrome or Chromium. I do all of that on. Well, actually, that's not true. I do have one Chromium profile for admin purposes to separate that out from my other Microsoft stuff. But anyway, so I separate out all of my things in their own browser, which is actually, I am using the Flatpak because it makes me feel a little bit better, even if it's a false feel better. But I'm looking at the risk versus reward on all the different factors and say, what is it that I'm mostly concerned about? I want to keep Edge separate from my system as much as possible, but I need to run Edge because I'm stuck in the Microsoft ecosystem. Now, the processes between each Edge tab is potentially more compromised, potentially, not actual, but has a higher potentiality of that because it doesn't have access to the kernel's isolation features that Chrome calls on. So I would, so I run that totally separate for only work-related things. This way I keep my Firefox personal things or LibreWolf or whatever separate from any of the work things. And then that's kind of how I play that game. And so anyway, I don't know if that helps, but it's a risk reward balance. You have to determine how much inconvenience are willing to accept for a certain standard of security and privacy that you believe that you have. I think that's how I would put that. Does that seem like a fair way to look at that? I'm willing to be called out at any point in time on that. Crickets? Nothing?
No, I agree. I think you're 100% on, and what makes it
Yeah, no, you're
harder
good.
for these conversations too is like the web versus Flatpak versus a Snap versus Electron, and even when you think about snaps, I mean, I ran MX Linux for a while because it could do snaps and Flatpak. I was like, man, that is super cool. But then I found out that the snaps on Debian, because of Ubuntu, is very slow to kind of share their version of AppArmor. The snaps aren't as containerized or not containerized at all. So I had this false sense of security running snaps on Debian-based systems, and that was like, whoa, that was a wake-up call. So it's definitely good to kind of like do the research and get underneath it because, yeah, people think that they're safe and secure when really
That's the other thing about like Arch Linux, right? You don't even get that out of the box. You got to configure and set up a profile, and for AppArmor or SE Linux, you got to do all this stuff. A lot of people don't realize all this stuff.
And if they make one mistake on that settings, that you get some leaks and that they don't know about. So yeah, it's tricky.
But yeah, I'm with you, Nate. You do very similar practice to what I'm doing. This is my point. I treat Discord as its own separate browser and isolate it. That's basically my point. More than
OS
it's a spyware that's tinfoil hat stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when it comes to like spyware, malware, I mean, if you look at some of your end user license agreements, there are lots of proprietary applications. If you actually read through the EULAs, you'll see are actually malware. In the strictest of sense, yes.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I agree.
I mean, yeah. I would actually call. Now, this is me. This is my opinion. I'm not saying this as fact, but I would say if you run Adobe Acrobat on your Windows computer, you technically have a form of malware on your system. In the strictest of sense. Now, is it actually doing anything malicious? Arguably, yes. But you have to like weigh that. You have to weigh that for your own personal level of what you consider to be secure or not secure, or or problematic. So it's just one of those things. It's a do you go the speed limit? Do you go 5 over? Are you a 10 over kind of guy? I don't know. I'm not the arbiter of morality here or of what is the best security practice. So I try to look at everything from a pragmatic standpoint, and I don't run a Tor browser. I don't run a
not me either.
Amnesic Linux distribution, because then I would be
unproductive, crazy,
and totally unproductive. So
yeah.
So
I tend to think like a hick farmer.
I have more amnesic browsers. I think I set a browser to be amnesic, right?
Yeah.
I just have amnesia naturally.
Full scale for me, you're really quiet. I know you're talking, but I can barely hear you. Like, I think you must have
Oh, I'm sorry. I was saying I have amnesia naturally.
Yeah.
I call it analog amnesia in my brain.
Well, you're still
Yeah,
a
if they
quiet
can't
full
get
scale.
if they can't get to my tax returns because I keep it on a USB that's not connected to the computer, I don't have to worry about the other computer. What's on the computer is what I'm willing to let them take, no matter what happens to whatever app. And if you don't think like that, you're going to eventually get hacked. You're eventually going to have your data taken. Don't leave
I don't
data you
disagree with
don't
that
want
either.
taken on your computer.
I actually keep all mine in paper for the same reason. There's nothing on my phone. There's nothing on my computer for any of that stuff. It's in a
Yep.
paper. It's in a file cabinet in the basement.
The English kings had a security measure called a moat, and that was so that they can't get over here.
Where exactly in the
Air gap
basement,
is a good
Dolphin?
idea. I agree with that, man. Anything important shouldn't be really on your main drive in your home folder anyway.
And if you get hacked and encrypted, if it's not connected, it can't be encrypted.
Well, if that works well for you, awesome. I actually keep everything digital because I don't want to keep the paper. Paper's flammable, and I'm paranoid.
That's true. You got a point. Multiple copies in different fireproof safes, different locations.
Yeah. But anyway, so back on LibreWolf. So who should be using LibreWolf? So like the ideal user is who? It's probably someone who's a privacy enthusiast, somebody like, well, Arch Penguin. Tinkers or people who hate config files, maybe?
I could see a good use case for it on like a kiosk,
Okay.
That would be a good use for it.
Okay.
I mean, it certainly appeals to those that don't. They want to do everything they can to not have sort of tracking that can go on when you're like me and stay logged in all the time. I just real quick, I wanted to check because while the big discussion was going on, I went and ran some RAMmy type numbers, and with videos and stuff running in LibreWolf and the same number of windows, with the only difference being Discord running in Firefox versus LibreWolf. It was 2 gigs for Firefox with 3 windows in Discord, and with 2 YouTube videos running in LibreWolf was 1.4. So I'm going to guess the RAM use is going to end up being pretty close or slightly less.
Nice.
So the
not to completely derail the conversation.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good because that was actually, we previously talked about the performance and whatnot, so that does fit with that. So as far as the do you think, like me, I didn't feel like the benefits of LibreWolf were, now mind you, I like the name, outweighed the conveniences of Firefox, although foxes are sneaky, conniving creatures and wolves are pretty cool. So I know, I think for me, like I have to turn a bunch of things on in LibreWolf to be more happier with it, I guess. The sync and whatnot, which is fine. But the little thing about like not actually being able to read certain aspects of the host system, that was kind of annoying for me. I know it's a little thing. It's like a little. I mean, browsers didn't used to do this. So like, what it okay, for I run a dark theme because I don't like bright things in my face. So websites that actually sense for that, like what kind of theme that you are running or like what your desktop is, can't read it through LibreWolf. So I either have to keep a dark reader constantly on, which will provide its own palette, or I have to use or just not use it basically. I have the bright theme basically all the time, and I don't like that. I like taking advantage of that dark theme. Although Eris told me that I probably use more energy because I have to have my screen slightly brighter if I have a dark theme, and I'm actually not saving anything electricity. But
I never said that.
I thought you told me that. I thought you said
no, I did not tell you.
Oh,
That
Okay.
only applies if you have an OLED. So if you have a phone on a phone that has an OLED, it doesn't matter if your background is white or black.
oh, okay. Well, I don't have my screen's not an OLED, so
OLED could do a screen burn, which could damage your pixels on there with lighter screens if they're left on and you don't have like in theory a sleep mode or something like that.
yeah. Anyway, the point is, I just don't like light. I don't like the bright lights. I like things a little bit darker. I guess is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, even if you tweak the dark system theme stuff, it's a little flaky. When you go to some websites, you'll get like partial darkness versus a full dark theme. Even some of the dark theme reader extensions that you can put in won't work quite right. So yeah, I agree with that one. I also had I had a note in my thing here about the only HTTPS extension that's built in. It occasionally gives you, if you go to our local newspaper does this. You go to the local newspaper website, it redirects to an HTTPS site, and the plugin kind of, I don't know, whatever happened. I got a series of extra steps, like you can't go to this website because there's no HTTPS involved. That was just the plug. I didn't even know the plugin was there. Once I knew the plugin was there, it was not that big a deal. But and then
the server, that they're using for the website. If they don't, it's amazing how many corporate sites do not have their websites secure, and it'll usually give you a warning or something like that. So you can't. That's the downside, is you can't control what you're looking at on the other end. I go through this all the time, even with my spouse with the computer. If something acts up, it's right away it's the computer, when in fact they said, there's other factors here, the hardware, whether it's the printer acting up or the website, or you know what I mean. So and that's the downside. Even if you use push HTTPS or HTTPS, excuse me, if the site doesn't have it set up, you're going to have a warning usually come up and tell you that.
Yeah, or set up properly. In our newspaper's case, they had it. It just didn't didn't do whatever it is it does when it works on other websites. So it was just a thing. Yeah. And the other usability one, since Nate was talking about usability, I'm trying to remember. There was one other odd thing. I'll check my note.
Well, the other search.
I know what it was. Did anybody see an increased number of things like verifying that you're human, or doing a little bit of work to get to a site? Like a lot of them. Like I didn't know there were so many.
I saw that.
Yeah. I had more than one have to run it on me more than once before it would let me. Do you know why that is?
No.
Yeah.
Probably because of all the blocking of trackers and everything else.
I mean, yeah, I know that now, right? So I mean, it's doing its job, but boy, was that. I mean, I had to click on a lot of bicycle parts.
It's not just that. That's also becoming a thing in the world too now, because of this age verification stuff and all that. And especially if you are using a browser that you don't typically use, like in this case, you're using it as a test for a period of time. You uninstall it, you put it back in, it's going to do. But even aside from that, I use the same browsers all the time. And more and more and more of that's happening because of age verification or security verification or 2FA, or whether you do it through a generator on your phone, or whether you do it through a text, or you know what I mean. So I think it's just a thing in general. I don't know that it's necessarily just the browser's fault. Now, if the browser being more secure, it may have very well added a little bit more, but I don't know. I seem to notice that in general anyway.
It's also the reason because of AI. AI is scraping everything. They're trying to put that in to block some of that. One of the things that I liked about LibreWolf, and I like using it, is because they have frequent updates. And I think this is one thing that's overlooked by a lot of people with anything that's a derivative of like Firefox or Chromium. There's some browsers that really lag behind in updates, and you want to get the security updates as soon as possible, especially on the browser.
I think they're better at that now, aren't they? I mean, in the beginning when they first came out with LibreWolf, they were really behind, but I think they're more current now.
No, I'm saying they did a good job with that, and other browsers
yes,
don't
sorry.
always do that good job with that.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
that's
in the beginning, they were one of those that, like I said, that, they were really lagging behind 2 and 3 versions, actually.
I'm worried if I'm also hesitant to try a lot of new browsers because I'm afraid if I fall in love, like 18 months or 2 years from now, I'm going to get burned, which I have been in the past where projects just get stale or they don't keep up with things, and so that's another reason why I'm like really hesitant.
Hey, 2 little quick notes about what's being discussed. The HTTP redirect, the reason a lot of sites use that is because they use Let's Encrypt for their SSL certificates. And one of the ways that Let's Encrypt authenticates the actual server is it writes a file to a directory, and then the servers come and look for that file, and that only works on HTTP. And so that's why they have to have HTTP enabled, unless they purchase a certificate, which at that point you can have it all SSL. But that's the reasoning for that redirect. Number 2, the "Are you a human" thing, that's a Cloudflare tool. Okay, that's part of their bot mitigation to make sure. And if like your browser is not identifying itself, that's when you'll get that, or the first time that you hit it, you'll get that. But
Now that's something I didn't check. Does LibreWolf identify itself?
probably not. I guess probably not. If you got that a lot, which I did too. That is
Yeah, I mean, I
probably
got a ton on. I actually got it so much. I ran 2 browsers side by side and see if I would get him, and I didn't. I got him. You know what I mean? I used it long enough that it was something. But if it's not tracking and it's not identifying, I could totally see that. Yeah, that would.
Yeah.
You would have to get a lot more, and they weren't a lot, right? It was like 1 or 2 seconds. Some of these things you don't even have to click on things for some of them. They just kind of show up and prove that you're not a robot for a second. One of the websites does a little. The OBS build system does a little proof of work thing when you access it. Yeah, there's lots of, and that happens in every browser, but in LibreWolf it was happening a lot. You guys don't know, but I just fell out on my stool.
But yeah, Cloudflare can be fairly aggressive with that, depending on how the owner of the site has it set up, and what level they're at and all that. So that's why you see those.
The other thing too is you have to be careful with spoof pages now, because they're using those same things, and there's actually malware built into those so-called security checks. If you wind up on a bad link and you don't pay attention to, how many of us really look at when you drop in, because if you have a bookmark or you go to type something in a site that you've been at and you got one character that's off. And the other thing that they're doing with some of these is the web addresses, the characters are, it may look like let's say you're putting an I in there, but it actually is a J, and you don't notice the little slight tail on the bottom because it's got the dot on the top. They're using characters that look a lot alike just to spoof a site. And sometimes it's really not noticeable, unless you really analyze your web URLs. So that's another thing that is happening too. So even though that's being used for security, you really have to pay attention to those, because let's face it, all of us probably do the same thing. You get annoyed, and what do? You click the pictures, and you want to just get past it, and you don't pay attention to anything else. But that's another scam that's supposedly been going around now too. If you search YouTube, you'll see all kinds of creators talking about that too as well, and then some of the tech sites.
Yeah, I mean, if everything's working right, when you get that, it should answer itself and continue on. But when it doesn't do that is when there's something suspicious, like not having the browser identify itself in the HTTP header. That's a typical bot thing,
It kind of reminds me of when websites wouldn't work with the Linux web browsers because they where Linux web browser, they didn't match the Windows user agent
Right.
thing. It sounds like that. It's like, okay, whatever the other browsers do, LibreWolf's not doing, and that might be a good thing. I've sort of kind of softened my position a little bit here on LibreWolf. I think I'm going to keep it around for my bank site.
It's locked down almost too tight in some ways, but yeah, for just general browsing, I used it for a long time. But it gets frustrating. So what happened? You just open up the other browsers you're used to using, but it is locked down, I believe, so tight that sometimes it gets almost uncomfortable.
Well, that's exactly how I felt, but I'm starting to come around to the realization that maybe I want that for some. Like maybe it doesn't matter so much for Netflix, but maybe it matters for some of these other things that are more important.
One YouTuber that has a separate computer just for banking.
It's a great secondary browser for just that case.
Oh, I agree, 100%. I think it's like I said. I'm keeping it on my toolbar, so because there's definitely cases where I want to test things or test a site.
I wonder if they should promote it that way, like a really good secondary, because if you don't want to log in everything with one browser,
right?
Now, that being said, too, if you use it like for banking or something like that, and let's say your bank has their system set up in a certain encryption type way or whatever, and you still feel like you're struggling to get through to that, a lot of times you might have to go in and just make that an exception for that site within LibreWolf, which is not necessarily a problem. You're just granting that particular because you're using it for a specific use case. But so just be aware of that too, because depending on the site you're going in for sensitive stuff, it is doing its job, but then also the site might be doing a little bit harder encryption too, where you will have to just grant permission as the allow versus denying all the time.
So I was going to mention about fingerprinting. There's this website from the EFF you can go to, and you can try it and see how your browser stacks up. LibreWolf is actually not the best. I think a better browser out of the box is probably Brave. Brave does randomize your information so that it's more safe for fingerprinting, I think, overall. But it's better than default Firefox for sure.
Honestly, Brave Origin is really good too. I've been using that. And by comparison to LibreWolf, Brave Origin is really stripped down as far as having to go in and adjust settings or whatever, because it's very, privacy centric.
Yeah, that's what I'm using right now, or Brave Origin.
You would be surprised what fingerprinting can see. They can see
kind
the
of low
resolution, the amount of colors, the type of monitor.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Mike. You're super low.
Super low mic. While he gets his mic gains up, I was just going to say that I think he's still going. I was going to say the irony is that, like, when people use Firefox for better security, sometimes there's a trade-off with, like, if you are fingerprinted and they have like I'll spare the details, but like you become more likely identifiable because you're not in the sea of what everyone else is doing. So if they can identify you and know that you are also a Firefox user and then cross-reference those things, it kind of narrows down a lot of people when they're searching and finding people.
That's AKA being a Linux user.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would like to add in at this point of this, which by the way, this has been an amazing discussion. So kudos to everybody. But I'd like to add in here, as someone who develops web applications and websites, the majority of websites that you go to, the reason they use a cookie is for your convenience and nothing else. It's not about tracking. Okay? Yes, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, those big players are going to use that technology to fingerprint you and keep a record on you and all that. But the majority of sites for just small businesses and individuals, they're just used for convenience, and that's it. And so many people today still have that 1995 to 2000, that 2000 mentality about cookies, which is totally different now.
Mm.
So
Way less
that's
delicious.
just, yes. So,
Well, and if you're
I
not
just want to
nervous
throw
about
that
them
in.
too, you could have them just clear every time you shut your browser too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And you know, again, the majority of that stuff is for your convenience. I mean, you know, like Prophetic said, you know, if you go to Amazon and you're buying coffee, well, the next time you come, it's going to recommend some other types of coffee to you. Now, is that good or bad? That's for you to determine, you know. But most of these things are not malicious. You know, there are malicious players out there. I'm not denying that, but
Yeah,
the
especially with
majority of things
extensions.
the majority of things you deal with on the web are just for convenience. So,
Yeah,
So
the
for-
web analytics of websites can see your monitor type,
Yeah.
your resolution, color
Yep.
depth, the operating system, which
Your
version
font.
it is, and which service pack is applied.
right.
I think
Right.
fonts too, right?
Yeah.
Yep. But see, a lot of times you need that information to tailor an experience for the user.
Right.
Yeah, this is
So,
how they, when you're downloading files like drivers for a printer, they can serve up whether you want an RPM or a DEB or an
Right.
EXE.
Yeah.
that's right.
and that's nice,
It's true.
I think.
That trick I use when I want an EXE, you just change my user agent in Windows for a minute, and then I
Yep.
can get the EXE.
There you go. That's right.
You know, it's crazy though. I'm worried about extensions because back in the day, I remember using Chrome when the extensions started getting popular. And it's like you can have this like super safe, secure browser, but if you have a compromised extension, like that's what's really bad.
For
That's
sure.
the thing.
That is facts, man. You've hit the nail on the head, buddy. Extensions are not your friend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know,
They're addictive.
in fairness to Google, they changed their entire API and development process for plugins about, I don't know, 6-7 years ago, and
So
it's
it's
a lot
harder.
more secure than it used to be. So
That's good to know.
yeah,
I would never do it anyways, but still, that's good to know
right.
because it was so bad.
If you go into Firefox add-ons, the ones that are recommended are the ones that are actually verified. So you can trust those.
Yeah, then you have these users that you support that have an addiction to plugins. If they've got a scroll bar in their extensions window, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
So I do want to get a couple more points here on LibreWolf. Oh, by the way, just for what it's worth, I also have Chrome on my computer, and I got a lot of browsers. And I tested the coveryourtracks.eff.org, which would be in the show notes if you want to test your browser. But Chrome rated just as good as LibreWolf, according to that.
Oh, well, wait a second here, though. Cubicle Nate, you just said you've run Edge and Chrome. I think that's pretty much you have to give us your Linux card. We could tolerate one at a time, but both? Oh, boy. You're in trouble.
I'm just kidding.
JK.
Yeah, in fairness, it is a much more secure browser than it used to be. You know,
He only loses his card if he starts using Opera GX at the same time.
Oh,
I don't-
yeah. Please,
I don't
God,
use
no.
Opera. No Opera here.
Don't use Opera or Opera GX.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah,
don't.
but if you do, then you lose your Linux card.
It happens.
You gain more
too.
gamer cred though, because then you get the gamer
No.
browser. Right?
Boy, you're fooled.
Yeah, packet sniff that one and let me know what you find.
yeah, you want one to really blow your mind. Go out there and download the browser and pull it up for the first time.
I keep hearing about this Molvad. Like Anna Rita said something about Molvad. Is it what's the Molvad browser? Never even looked at it.
So Molvad and LibreOffice. I mean, now I'm doing it. The open logo has me doing it too. LibreWolf and MolVet Browser are very similar, but the difference is that there was this project, I don't know if it's still going on, that did like a custom settings for Firefox. And what LibreWolf did is it took everything that that project did and integrated it into the browser, and that was LibreWolf's goal. And the way MolVet Browser takes all the settings from Tor browser and it makes a browser out of it, but you are not using Tor. So it will give you like you know how it has those side panels to cover up your resolution, so it doesn't show like your true resolution when you go full screen. In Tor browser, that's what MolVet browser does.
Okay. Yeah, they have a Firefox extension as well. Looks like.
And
A
they have like
VPN.
their Molvad VPN baked into
Yeah.
the browser too, where you can switch things out easily.
It's interesting.
I probably was one of the worst when I used to develop websites for guys that now are probably in their 70s and 80s, and they insisted on it looking good on Windows 95, which meant you had to run Internet Explorer or Internet Explorer version 6 or version 9 because they would not change to anything else.
For my job, I have to do some demos, and one of the demos I review is open up Microsoft Server Studio, and I work for a company that does like cybersecurity and privileged identity management. And one of the things we demo is like you think you're safe, but what happens when you click here? And it's the Get Help drop-down menu from the application, and it's hard coded to open up Internet Explorer.
Wow.
So
that's aging well.
If someone, yeah, so if you know someone, if you know that and you think like you're safe, that someone can't hop on and run some type of exploit through that. It's just by a lateral application launch. That's a pretty wild thing. Hard coded, can't.
You're always one click away from compromise. That's for sure. That's the internet, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That is pretty crazy. So, now my other question for you on I'm running out of time here, but so forking Firefox, do you think this is sustainable long term? Do you think LibreWolf has long term legs to it, or is this one of those things that we'll see kind of vary over time? I mean, I guess Firefox technically has had its ups and downs, but what are your thoughts on LibreWolf versus Firefox for long term?
Well, I'll throw my 2 cents in that. You know, there's at least 6 or 8 other browsers doing exactly the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it all falls back to the development team, you know, and how committed they are to keeping it fresh. You know, there are other, well, I'll give you a good example, kind of a parallel to this would be like Betterbird and Thunderbird.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, I think it's the same type of deal where you have a group of people trying to improve the base product and, you know, make it better for their use case. But I think it just depends on how the development group, you know, if they'll stick with it and not, you know, abandon it after 2 to 5 years. But yeah, I think it's a viable tool for sure.
LibreWolf's been around longer than that, I think, isn't it? Because
Yeah,
like I said, when they started out, it was very how do I put this? I mean, it needed a lot of work, and I think they've come a long way. So I don't see them going away anywhere anytime soon, and I think it's only getting better.
Yeah, and I just made that comment based on the ones that come and go. They use Firefox as their base, you know. So
I think that Firewolf is going to be always the alternative, the secondary browser. I don't see it as becoming the mainstream. I think its purpose is to be a secondary browser.
Yeah.
So, do you
Yeah,
think,
I agree. I don't think they're going anywhere. I mean, like you said, I think it's a lot on the developers, but they do seem to have quite the following. Quite a lot of people like it. So
It's a sick name. I love the name.
Well,
Yeah, I think
Anna Rita has her stamp of approval on it, and that's enough. The Queen has spoken.
Oh,
I think
So-
the opposing point to yours, though, Dad, was that I could see LibreWolf as an example. Switch to Linux. He likes LibreWolf because he's been kind of frustrated with the telemetry that's been added to Firefox, and the things you have to turn off and that kind of thing. So I think it comes down to the mindset of how secure, how much tinkering do you want to do to turn things on and off, that kind of thing. Where my understanding, the idea behind LibreWolf was that it was just like Brave Origin. The idea is it's already set for you. You don't have to worry about doing that. So I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just saying I think it's like anything else. It's the use case for the use case kind of a thing.
I will knock one thing: the default being DuckDuckGo/Bing.
that's true. Yeah, use Bing backend.
That's my one knock of it. I think it's good though.
You could change it though really easily, right?
It is better than Google's AI search currently.
I will agree with that. So is Bing though.
I've
So
been
that's-
using a
that-
lot of DuckDuckGo myself.
I
anyway,
can't believe I
because-
just said that, but it's true.
Well, I mean, I at least appreciate when using DuckDuckGo that I have the choice to either interact with the AI response or not. I can just move on. Like it doesn't jump in my face and tell me I have to use it.
True.
Which is kind of how I want to interact with
Right.
that anyway. There's times I want to search and there's times I don't want to search. Those
Kinda
are
like
two separate
Brave,
things to me.
right? Brave does that kind of. I think they do a pretty good job with that.
They're the other one, yeah.
Leo is not super intrusive. You could toggle it on and off, and
so
I think it's probably a pretty important part of the Mozilla family of web browsers, being it's one of the. I mean, I know there's been some that have come and gone, but there's really not that many Firefox-based web browsers that are still on the modern Mozilla code base. There's a couple of older ones, like Pale Moon is an extension from an older Mozilla base. I think at this point it's a true fork. It was forked some time back, and it's kind of got its own thing going on. But LibreWolf doesn't. It's current with the current Mozilla base, and then they tweak the crap out of it, which I can respect. It's good. I don't know that if Mozilla Foundation would ever fold up as we pretend as we think about maybe it would someday. I don't know if LibreWolf survives very long past that or not. It might. I don't know. Pretty smart guys so far, but right now they're tied together just like some distributions I can name are tied in with Debian. It's kind of the same kind of sympathetic relationship.
Really good ones, right?
I think that goes for any of the derivatives. None of the derivatives will exist without the main browser. If Chromium goes away, there's no way the other browsers are going to take over and maintain Chromium. Or if the other derivatives for Firefox go away, Firefox goes away, the derivatives for Firefox are going to take over development. It's just a huge undertaking.
could you imagine trying to keep up on that? Oh my! So
Who misses Netscape and the AOL dial-up? That's what I miss. No, I'm just kidding.
I hear that sound in my sleep. Like you can't get away from the dial-up modems. They just follow you the rest of your life.
They do, yeah.
You're right about that.
I had 2 lines of the dual stack at 56K, man.
So LibreWolf's relationship then to Mozilla, do you look at it as more of a friendly fork or a rebellious child? And do you think Mozilla is going to make any changes that will break LibreWolf?
No, I
think it's friendly.
they're all right. Go ahead. Sorry, Dalton.
I'm sorry, that was a short sentence. I would say I think it's a friendly fork, and since they're mostly concerned with tweaking Firefox and pulling out a few things, I think that could continue for some time. I don't know what. I'm no developer as far as a big application like that, but I don't know what they would do that would derail that project other than I don't know. I think they would find a way to keep going.
Do you remember WaterFox? I mean, that's a perfect example of what you're describing. I think WaterFox it's still out there, but it's kind of, I think, fallen by the wayside. Nobody really thinks about it as much, but yet LibreWolf is, and who knows, maybe it's because of, even like you've misspoke with the LibreWolf or LibreOffice, it's very easy to remember and connection and things like that. So I look at it as a friendly fork, and also it's just basically a parallel for, as we said before, Firefox, but with, a little bit more stripped down, tighter security things. So, but think about WaterFox for a minute too, because that's one of the examples, I think, to your point, Dolphin, that they come and go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know anybody using WaterFox.
Well, the latest release is June 3rd of this year.
Yeah, that's why I said they're still there. It's just you don't hear about it.
Yeah.
In comparison to like LibreWolf, I think they've actually, they have they're known, right? They're known for being a little more secure, and that I think they've gained a reputation,
Yeah, could be. I don't know.
Marketing
All right.
too. It's a good name.
So then I guess I want to kind of close this off with, so is LibreWolf the best privacy browser in 2026, or are there better options?
Better options.
Yeah, I'd have to say I think Brave is probably a hair better.
Yep.
Brave Origin is, I'd say, leading the pack kind of behind the scenes right now.
I'm okay with it being a secondary browser to me using another one. I don't think it'll be my main one, but I already kind of use it for if I don't need to be signed in to something, I'll use it to go browse the internet instead, but
okay.
Yeah, I think sometimes too we tend to try to put all these browsers on a level playing field, and that's not really what's going on. There's some, like LibreWolf, for instance, to me is for a very specific use case. I just don't see it as an everyday browser. But there's a lot of browsers out there. That's why. I just looked it up. There's 34 active browsers based on Firefox right now.
Right.
And they all kind of do little different tweaks of things.
I think Brave Origin's making a lot more traction in such a short time because it's well liked. And I just installed it, like I said, this in about a week, and I've been loving it. Honestly, it's quick, and and I use regular Brave also.
So I think sometimes we tend to compare one that's in one category to another, and they're not really the same.
Yep, absolutely agreed.
Yeah, and I'm glad you guys guided me towards. I personally think, and I have no proof whatsoever, that SeaMonkey, LibreWolf is the evolution of SeaMonkey. It's what SeaMonkey became. Just
that's a point.
An observation through the historical catacombs.
Say it one more time.
SeaMonkey, I believe, is like the precursor to LibreWolf. I think they did away with the SeaMonkey name and come up with LibreWolf, or the people that were involved in SeaMonkey broke off and created LibreWolf. Just my opinion.
SeaMonkey is what, the continuation of the Mozilla browser? This is before Firefox?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's
really old.
It lines up.
2019.
it lines up quite a bit with the last version of Netscape Navigator that came out with it had the suite of web-oriented tools.
Yeah.
It had the mail client, it had the little web HTML client, it had a few other odds and ends.
Right.
SeaMonkey is a nice, but I haven't used it in a long time. I don't even know if it's still being updated. But it
Good question.
Yes,
we
it
use
is.
the package.
There's still a download for it.
Yep. So December
I just
31st,
wanted to
2025 was the last update. So just
Okay.
having rapid development, but it's still
I retract everything I said.
not everything. Just a
Yeah,
couple things.
I think we actually have a version in the in our repo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
I
if
think
you,
it's listed in your default, like the preferred, not the preferred, but the main landing screen of the MX Package Manager. If you go to browsers, is listed there, which is
There you
wow.
go. That's how long it's been.
That's awesome.
Looking like SeaMonkey 2.53.23-1.
And I can't believe I remember that.
Yeah.
It's a,
Thing to have. Good job,
But-
MX. We love you guys.
It was last modified January 2026.
Well, if you really want Netscape, you can go to archive.org probably and get it. I would assume. I don't know for sure, but a lot of the times people don't think of that. That's if you want to go back in time and kind of reminisce, you can find stuff there and play with it.
Wow. Spank Your Monkey has a composer in it for WYSIWYG HTML editor too. Yeah, I went there. I'll retract that too. I like making weird names for everything.
I was wondering where that came from.
Yeah.
Now Firewolf makes more sense.
Yeah.
I know you
Yeah,
want to
that
talk about
was
cool.
intentional.
That's cool.
Yeah, Firewolf would be amazing. That's a grown-up fox, Firewolf.
Netscape Online with Netscape Communicator 4.6 is available on archive.org if you want to look. So whether it'll work or not, who knows? Because it's back from 1999 published date.
Have to do like a VM of like super old school
You have to download
98
Windows
SE
3.1 to
or
run
something.
Yeah.
it. You need Windows 3.1 to run it.
Yeah, there's 6.1 on there too. There's a few of them actually.
I'm gonna install SeaMonkey. It's just soon as
Remember SE when you couldn't reboot? It would just sit there and spin.
Yeah, you can still get Internet Explorer on Crossover if you want to install it in your base bottle. If you want to run an older bottle, yeah.
Explorer.
If you're like
In case you want some viruses.
Right.
Yep.
A little more malware. All right. Well, I think that was a good discussion. I got a lot of links to the other browsers and such. It'll be in the show notes. Although maybe you got them already, but they're there. Regardless. So real quick housekeeping. There will not be a Linux Saloon next week. I am on vacation, but I have cameras on my house, so don't try anything. Hip dad. So
That was funny.
well, every once in a while, like a broken clock. But if you have any suggestions, whether the distribution, discussion, application ideas, poll ideas, whatever you got, send suggestions at linuxsaloon.com or tag them in the Telegram or Discord groups to like Eris, mostly me, and I'll write it down too. We got a list of things there somewhere. So we are late. We have to take a rain check on the command line series. Mike, is that okay?
Yeah, I just messaged you and said if you need to skip, that's fine.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that message. I guess I wasn't paying attention. All right, but so we're gonna go ahead and move right into last call. So gonna go around the room here. Dale, I know you got a vacation coming up. Is there anything else that maybe you wanted to, I don't know, share on our way out the door?
That's about it. And in 2 weeks, I'm on 2 weeks, so roughly 2 weeks vacation. So my YouTube channel should start becoming alive again.
Sweet. Full scale for me. Anything exciting you want to share?
Well, I've updated my GitHub site for the first time in a long time. All of my writing is up there so that later on when my website goes dark, everything that I've written will stay available and searchable.
What do you mean goes dark?
Well, I'm 73. I'm at the 90th percentile for survivability with my cancer, so I'm beyond borrowed time. I'm over the peak.
Oh,
I could be tomorrow, or I could live till 85, but I don't want to hurt people by having the stuff that I've written that they need be not available.
I
Well,
understand that.
You'll be in our thoughts and prayers, man. Keep on fighting. My son's
Absolutely.
a survivor. It's not easy.
well, I appreciate all the time I have with you. Even if it's digitally. So just know that, you're someone who people need, someone that people need or appreciate your everything you have to contribute. So anyway, so thank you very much for that. I appreciate being here.
He's not going anywhere. Don't he's.
I'm just saying.
He's gonna be around probably longer than me. So
I mean, I could get hit by a bus tomorrow. Nobody ever really knows. So it's always good to have a legacy plan of sorts. But anyway, well, good deal. Well, thanks for being here. Hip Dad,
Yes, sir.
thanks for being here. Anything exciting you want to share?
Nothing majorly exciting. I mean, I'm getting my microphone adjusted to where people don't get to hear me eat anymore. I know you miss it, but there's got to be sacrifices.
That ASMR
But,
from Hip Dad.
Yeah, I would like to suggest that the next level we go to is search engines. What is our top search engines that we use? I mean, because there's so many now. I mean,
No, could have a discussion on that for sure. That's a good idea.
yeah.
Search engines. Yeah,
Yep.
we should do that.
And that's about all I got.
Well, good deal. Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Jinda, I know you're very disruptive
Yes,
this entire time. So,
yeah, it was fun.
yeah,
I was on my best behavior today.
which is pretty low for everybody else.
you're setting a low bar there, buddy.
I am.
Well, I do appreciate you being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. War Thunder.
Up.
I just want to say your avatar when you're not displaying it looks like a penguin riding Charizard. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a Linux penguin wearing a Star Trek red shirt, riding a Charizard with the Enterprise in the background, because I think that pretty much summarizes everything.
That's pretty awesome.
It was
I
from,
like it.
What was it? The old meme was, I have a Darth Vader riding a Charizard, your argument is invalid. I think was the meme when I was in school, so I just carry it on now.
Oh, that's cool. Sorcha, is that am I saying it right? Sorka or Sorcha?
Sorsha.
Sorsha.
Hi, I'm late. I got off work late.
Oh, it's all good. I appreciate you being here, even if it is late. I think we're a pretty swell group. I don't know if did you get to listen to much of the conversation?
No, I literally just joined, so I'll have to
okay.
watch it later.
Oh, it's all good. We'll hopefully going to get you a little earlier next time if work doesn't get in the way.
I know, right?
Yeah. Well, do appreciate you being here, even if it's a little bit later. If I may ask, because first I've seen your name, what brought you to Linux Saloon?
Windows 11.
Oh,
Hey.
Yay.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
So,
Cool.
Welcome.
short answer.
Welcome
Okay.
to the other side.
Yeah. Well,
So no,
we're-
I'm just trying to get into Linux. I've had it since November, but there's a lot that's painful to transfer in my business.
oh, okay.
Hmm.
You'll get a lot of help here if you need it. Just know that.
Yeah.
And join the Telegram
It's
group too. That would be helpful.
yeah,
So I don't know what your business is or what your
accounting.
so
Yeah.
QuickBooks,
Uh-huh. Tax accounting, QuickBooks,
wow.
which requires Excel. So I've been playing with Winboat and that'll work, but it's a transition for sure.
Also, I would recommend you check out Crossover by Codeweavers, Crossover Linux. So I do run Excel directly on my machine, but you don't have like the OneDrive integrations. I don't know how important that is for you with that. No, so you love
It's
OneDrive
not
or
important.
don't? Okay,
No.
so you love OneDrive.
I've ripped
Also,
everything out of my
okay.
Windows. I have no OneDrive, no Edge, no Copilot. It's all been ripped out. I'm on local account only.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work to keep things the way you want it. Computers are a lot of work. But I've been using Crossover for well over 20 years now to run Windows applications. Although I can't run TurboTax won't run it on directly. 1 year, I think 2003, I got it to run in Linux. I think that was the only year. But
yeah.
But
They have a web portal.
They do. I use the web one now. But as far as QuickBooks, I think Crossover does support QuickBooks, but I have to. At least they did at one time. I don't know if they do right now, but they did at one time. So
Yeah, I think it's older. It's older versions. That's the whole reason why I used it in the beginning.
And I have all the versions. I mean, going back, but it's getting a handful of clients either transitioned, redone. I can transition to the OneDrive, QuickBooks Online, and then I'm done. It doesn't matter what I'm on. But it's other things like the tax software. I don't use TurboTax. I have professional software, but those things I'm going to have to figure out.
Yeah, you use Drake
So that's one
probably or
thing.
something like that.
I use Drake. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. That's outside of my area.
Yeah, right.
For sure.
It's outside of a lot of everybody. It's like watching videos, OBS. I don't need OBS. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I break it all the time.
It's
good. But yeah, no, actually, you'd be for me. It would be a fun challenge to see what we can get working. But that's
right.
Yeah. But anyway, so thanks for being here. Appreciate it, and then feel free to, poke around and see what you can see. I guess.
Yeah,
Definitely
hang out in the
will.
after show a little bit too. You can, if you got some questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
But thank you so much. And Eric, glad to have you.
Yes. Yes, I'm a disgruntled Linux user that's going to switch to React OS any day.
Good luck.
No? You don't think I'm going to be able to pull it off? All right.
Well, no.
All right.
What I'm saying is, I want to see you pull it off.
hilarious.
This is more of a challenge.
You should live
I'm
stream
stuck.
that one. I got to see it, dude.
I mean, it's one thing to install it and use a little
any
bit.
Any day now, they'll have feature parity, right? Anyway,
with Windows 95.
Yeah, I've been online. I've been online too long. Obviously, it's time for me to unplug.
The gauntlet has been thrown down. Eric must come to Linux Saloon next time using React OS.
Yes, and Discord.
Yeah, and Discord.
Oh, yeah. I
that's
think
a
I
good
can
one.
pull it off. That's it for me. Good night.
All right. Thank you so much. And then Arch Penguin.
So what I got is, you don't have to be like me, but my suggestion is black hole your default browser right away. You know what I mean? Make it amnesic, don't remember history, turn off delete cookies. And that way, if you want to look at something and you click on a link, it's not going to go right into your main browser.
I use something called SwitchYard. Check that out. For managing browsers, I have no default browser. I use SwitchYard. So I click on a link,
Okay.
like let's say my email, and I decide where it's going to go. If it's going to go to, now here I'm going to offend a bunch of people here, but if I go to Edge or Chrome, or Chromium or Firefox or now LibreWolf, or I choose my browser. This way, if I click on say my email, I can just shift it to wherever it's got to go. By the way, something to think about.
I like that. That sounds cool.
Yeah,
I'll
check out
have to
SwitchYard. It's a flat pack. So, alrighty, Eris, thanks for being here. Appreciate all that you do.
Thank you, Nate.
And Mike Chilson.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, next Linux Saloon, we'll do your. I didn't expect the whole LibreWolf thing to go off like it did, so I thought it would be like a 30-minute conversation, and everyone's going to be like, "Yeah, I'm bored."
I'm glad it did, man. Those are the best kind of conversations. They really are.
Although at about 9 o'clock, people start tuning out. So anyway, just looking at the numbers and one, boo, drop down. Anyway, so yeah, thanks for being here. We'll do your command line tutorial.
Yeah, man, and I just want to say for those that didn't see the early edition today, if you want to tune into that next time, it's a great time to participate in the show if you can't make it at night. So
yeah,
that's a good one for sources, because that if you're not working a full day or you want to spend a Saturday afternoon or something with the UK group, those are another great bunch of people. Some of them are even here on this show, I think.
Yeah, so Zeb couldn't be here today. He's had family engagements. But anyway. Anyways, thanks for being here. 27th we'll do the next command line tutorial. So thanks. And then Nate Pick. I don't know if I'm supposed to say Nate Pick. Anyway, so I kind of.
You could also just call me Nate.
Okay. Well, there's two of us then. One must stand, one must fall.
Nate P.
They could only.
Well, appreciate all your conversation in the chat. It's nice having that kind of interaction.
Yeah, no problem. I don't know if you know me or not, but I'm Nate from the Linux Cast. So I came here because several people I know here. So.
Oh, okay. Sweet.
I knew instantly when I heard his voice who he was.
Yeah,
it betrays me. I'm sorry.
It's all right. You're a more successful Nate than this one here. So there's that.
I highly doubt that, but okay.
But anyway, so thanks for being here. You're welcome to join anytime. You can bring the rest of the Linux Cast with you if you want. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It would be super fun if you want.
Yeah, I can talk to Matt and Drew.
Yeah.
So no worries.
Because the less I talk, the better the show is. That's how it goes. See. Prophetic. Glad to have you.
Just glad to be had.
Yeah.
I want to plug Ladybird.
Okay.
I know a lot of these spins of web browsers are important, but it's also nice to try to build towards something that's truly independent, that's not based on the Chrome or Chromium or Firefox, that is truly independent. So I want to plug that. And if we ever do a OS challenge again, I kind of want to see what we can do with Butterbean, which is Drew's Debian spin, which is basically Btrfs and Snapper and all that good stuff with Debian mixed in. That'd be cool to put that on the list.
That'd be an awesome one. Yes.
It'd be a good one to play with. I like the to me the most fun distribution explorations or whatever are those that try and solve a specific problem. And so
Yeah.
someone has spent some time really working on a specific problem that they want to solve, whatever it might be. And I think those are the most interesting.
Agreed.
Because they're, yeah. So yeah, let's put that on the list. Maybe next one or after that. So we could say the better Nate is Nate pick. Better Nate, if you want. And Joe.
Yes, sir.
Good to have you. How are the grandkids?
They're good. They're
Yeah.
all good. They're getting big, that's for sure. We had one that did a 5th grade graduation and another one did a kindergarten. There's more graduations than we ever had, but that's fine. So it was a lot of fun this week. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Anyway, I've been messing around with a lot with the AI stuff a little bit. It's just, more for just out of curiosity and maybe trying to put it to some good use for hopefully selling, helping my wife with some of her workload stuff to maybe, because she'll spend hours doing a post and that kind of thing. But one of the things I've been kind of curious about, and I struggled a little bit. I use LM Studio, but I was trying to look at local AI. I don't remember. I know you guys have had some discussion on AI on nights that I haven't been here or whatever, but I don't know if you ever looked at local AI. So that might be something if you wanted to go down the AI path. And then the last thing I got is for Sorsha, see if she's here, is just don't ever use Puppy Linux because you're probably not going to like it. Wait a minute. Where's the drum roll for the Prophetics was a puppy guy. That's why I said that. And I've been around a long time.
Yeah.
I kind of got that listening to everything. It's like, no.
It has its purpose.
It's just very it actually is a very good, very lightweight thing, but it's just it's very, and I think he would agree, it looks dated looking because it's kind of old school kind of, but it's actually very good this week. But anyway, nice to have you, and please do like I said, reach out for help if you need it. That's it.
Well, thank you all for being here. Do appreciate it. I have a website, cubiclenate.com. I do things sometimes, and you can check that out. Also on a podcast called Linux Out Loud. I think recorded 2 weeks ago. Yeah, it was 2 weeks ago. So you can check that out. It's on the YouTubes. So thank you all for your support, however you do it, being a part of the conversation, both the Discord meeting here, the YouTube stream, as well as for everyone watching the show after the fact. I want to thank everyone involved in making Linux and open source tools possible for us to not only have this conversation, but also to have fun and enjoy our technology. Linux truly puts personal back into personal computer. Thank you for stopping by. Be sure to tip your developers, and please remember to Linux responsibly. Until next time.